We're away.
All right. Rob Appleton in the driver's seat. How you going, Rob?
Not bad. How you going, Dan?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Now, we're down in Tassie. We're just outside, we're about an hour outside of Hobart. And I'm going to give you a quick intro. So, Rob, and you and I grew up together in Clermont in Central Queensland. And you're a few years older than me, but we became really good friends probably like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been good mates ever since. But the last couple of years, you've moved down to Tassie with your partner, and you live down here now. And yeah, you've had quite a fascinating life, I think. You've got some quite incredible stories. You grew up on a cattle station in just near Clermont, and I want to talk to you about some of those stories today and a few other things. So I'm really looking forward to the drive today, mate.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to have a good yarn, and first time in one of these weapons, mate. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out on the highway.
I've got a feeling you're going to enjoy it, mate. So I'm just going to switch this over to day mode, so it's a bit easier to see. There we go. Now, your seat, you've got your seat all set. You feel all right there? You can adjust the steering wheel as well. So this here, that'll go up or down, or it can go in or out. How's that feel?
Oh, that feels pretty good.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm ready.
Nice.
We're still parked at the moment.
just a little rehearsal for what's to come. Mirrors. So you got it's the same button. So you're on your left mirror now. You're on your left.
Yeah.
This mirror here.
Yeah, gotcha.
So is that, you can scroll it up or down and twist it. So you get that right.
Yep.
And then the right one here, I'll just touch this. Now the right one, same button.
Yep.
And then the this is manual. So you'll need to use your hand for that. You need to reach up and grab that one. Sorry, mate.
Oh, mate.
Sorry about that.
That's right. That's better.
All set?
Yeah, we'll just see the cars at the fuel guzzlers.
The gas guzzlers behind us. All right, and now if you put your foot on the brake, actually, I almost forgot, I've got to show you a few things here. Entertainment, we've got Netflix and YouTube, we've got video games, but we're going to be playing the real game in a second, so won't worry about that.
You want to put on an episode of Gardening Australia as we...
Yeah, we could do that. And now also we've got this little tradition going lately where at the start of each episode we got Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Now what I generally ask the guests is if they've got a pump up song that they really like. Could be any song they want, any band at all.
Full disclosure, I've been watching the series, mate.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm well aware that I'm not going to get to play I'm everyone. I feel like a woman.
By Shania Twain.
Yeah, Twain.
No, you can have any song you want by any band as long as it's Rage Against the Machine and Killing in the Name of. So what's your choice?
Let's go with, what's that song by Rage Against the Machine again?
I think it's Killing in the Name of, but I hope
that's the one. Yeah.
I reckon we might.
You got it?
I hope so, but here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now, stereo is pretty amazing in this thing, all right? So I hope you're ready for this. And I want to see a little bit of headbanging if you don't mind.
I'm not got an headbanging though.
All right, just sit there then.
I don't have the hair for it.
Yeah, not like Ellen in our last episode, but you can feel the stereo is pretty unreal. You ready? You ready? Give us a bit more headbanging, mate. How's that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Is that full volume, yes?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Is there any blood coming out of that? It's bloody pretty loud, and I'm deaf, so that's, yeah.
Well, hopefully, I hope I haven't done any permanent damage. But all right, now that we're pumped up, we can take this for a drive, and we're in pretty beautiful country out here, so I think it's going to be a pretty nice drive.
Well, I'm just going to get a bit of caffeine in.
All right. Whenever you're ready. So put your foot on. If you put your foot on the brake, the indicator's on this side, which I just mentioned. So hard down will keep the indicator on, and soft down is just 3 blinks, and then. That's for like when you're changing lanes.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then hard up on the right paddle will put you in reverse.
So we're in reverse now?
Yep. And now we can back out. I generally just use this for reverse and don't even need the mirrors really.
So cool.
Yeah. Now knock down the paddle and you're in drive.
You want to throw just throw in
near your joint?
Address. Yeah.
Is that the one?
Now turn left onto Lake Dobson Road.
I might actually, I'm actually going to put this back on night mode now that we're off because it's just a bit easier on the eye. There we go.
This is so good. Just no noise whatsoever.
Yeah. Now we drove up here and you're in the passenger seat. But it's a whole different ball game when you're in the driver's seat.
You were saying that, and I was thinking, well, I don't really believe it, but now I'm in the cockpit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm,
And you see, you'll notice when you push your foot on the accelerator, you got that little white line there.
Yeah.
That's drawing off the battery. And then when you take your foot off, it goes green, and that's actually putting energy back into the battery.
Well, that's that regenerative braking.
Regen braking, yeah. So how's that feeling? All right?
Mate, this is amazing. I'm sold.
Already?
Where'd I put the order in, mate?
Well, you can actually order it online, so we could order one through the internet in a Tesla. Oh, hold up a little bit there, mate.
Oh, mate, this is getting excited.
Yeah. And where are we, Rob, at the moment?
So we're just leaving, we're just coming out of Mount Field National Park. So World Heritage listed area here in Tasmania. So we just took you up for the first time up for a walk around Lake Dobson.
Yep.
So
Turn left onto
so that's a pretty incredible spot. Now we're just heading back
into
towards
Hobart. Yeah. Indicators this side. That's it. And just don't go too crazy yet, because what I'm going to do is when we get a bit of a nice stretch up here, we'll slow it right down, and then we'll show you what this thing can really do.
Well, if we get around past that, that new house that I pointed out.
Oh, yep. Just past there.
Maybe past there a bit. When we get out in that open paddocks there.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we might
give it a bit out there, I reckon.
All right. In the meantime, I might give a bit more background into where you're from and where I'm from, and kind of the journey that you've been on. You're the last 10-20 years, I guess. So yeah, you grew up on a big cattle property in Clermont, and you used to even ride bulls at rodeos, didn't you?
Oh, I fell off mostly, but I gave it a crack for a few years.
Yeah. So we used to there was a couple of rodeos that were big events in town. Was it Twin Hills Rodeo?
Yeah, that was a local rodeo.
Yeah,
Twin Hills. And then, the Blair Athol Rodeo as well. But they had that Central Queensland circuit, all around Central Queensland there.
Yep.
Yeah. So, when it first kicked off, really, it was a big camp draft scene. And they'd have a sort of rodeo on the last day of a camp draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got bigger and turned into a couple of kookaburras there.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It turned into bullaramas and things like that out the back of pubs in portable panel setups.
Oh, right. So you did a few of those as well?
Yeah, had a bit of a muck around there too.
Yeah,
so,
right.
You make your own fun out there, as you know.
Absolutely.
And whether you grow up in town or out on a property outside of Clermont there, I think we grew up, doing all of our mustering on horses. So it's a natural evolution that you're going to jump on a few potty calves and then eventually jumping on bullocks and then having a crack on a few bulls.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. I mean, it's probably one of the most. It's one of the biggest adrenaline rushes I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know, you go skydiving, you bungee jumping, all that sort of stuff. But to get on 1 ton of muscle and try and ride that for for 8 seconds is
Yeah.
yeah. It is.
Well, this car weighs 1.8 tons,
Oh, there you
and
go.
you're gonna, and soon we'll be doing 3.3 seconds. So if you can hang on for that, I know rodeo is 8 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, 8 seconds for a call.
Well, you don't have to hold on for that long. Just three and a half seconds for this one,
Right.
for
That's
this
weird.
bull. Now, also, so you grew up on this cattle property. You used to do rodeo, and then quite a few years ago, you started working for Meat Livestock Australia, MLA, and there's quite an interesting story there. That would you be interested in telling that?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an interesting first drive in a Tesla, really, because we've had chats over the years about different paths we've taken and different experiences, I guess, that we've had that have influenced where we've ended up now. One of the big ones for me, Meat and Livestock Australia, back, if people remember, when they shut down the live cattle trade from the story that was released on Four Corners with the graphic imagery of the conditions that the cattle were being put under over in Indonesia. So there's a big backlash from the community in Australia, which shut the trade down for a little while, which wreaked havoc in the agricultural industry. But I was always curious, like growing up on cattle farms, you're trucking cattle, you're sending them overseas, live export. What happens to the animal once it leaves Australian soil? And so this opportunity came up through another close friend to head over. You're based out of Jakarta and work contracting to Meat and Livestock Australia
In Indonesia.
in Indonesia. A couple of days before that story got released on Four Corners, and the only background knowledge we sort of had was that we would be helping local Indonesian people unloading the boats at the port and just showing them roughly how to handle Australian cattle, which are a lot larger than the Bintang, like the local breeds there. But turned out to be a bit bigger than that, probably a bit more sinister than that. It was really just a cover for Meat and Livestock Australia. They're doing a pretty piss poor job, really. Massive export trade over there, and they make money off each beast that gets sent off Australian soil.
So you ended up inspecting the abattoirs? was it?
Yeah, well, we ended up out in an abattoir the very first night, up to our ankles in blood across the floor, in pretty horrific sort of conditions. Watching the process over at that from that side, from that perspective, and then that night I remember like clearly getting back to the hotel, and next morning breakfast, just there were 6 of us sitting down, just saying what is our role here? What purpose do we serve being over here? And it was quite confronting to see the appalling conditions that the animals are in. At this stage, I was still eating meat myself, so this isn't a story about that, but it leads to that, I guess.
Yeah.
So we basically put together a document just to audit these facilities, just to sort of showcase if anyone was going to change like the condition of their facility to actually just smoothline the process a bit, really, to process the animals a lot quicker, a lot more humanely, as they called it. But in the end, there weren't many changes being made, and there were just still thousands of cattle being sent to these places. And just one particular night that we went out, I won't go into the full story, but basically I remember this bullock coming up, big black bullock from the Northern Territory, just by the brand, and it was sort of about 3 deep in the race leading up to the kill floor. And one of the buyers had turned up and was pointing at this bullock, wanting, because it's the biggest one there. The local people were basically snapped the tail on this animal, poking it in the eye with a piece of wire about 6 inches long. So I I couldn't handle that, so I goosenecked this bloke's arm and took the object off him, and I poked him in the eye. And that obviously caused a bit of commotion. Now the translator there trying to communicate between myself and about 10 of his local guys with meat cleavers and things, and I was basically just telling him you can't treat the animal like that. As I turned around and looked at this bullock, he was looking straight at me, and I could see tears pouring down his eyes, and it just had this really distinct expression of like, help me. And that to me that was it. I just saw the bigger picture, and I guess that sort of was one of the moments of many that took me on the pathway leading me to where I am now. So I don't eat any animal meat. I'm pretty much plant-based, but it started to open my eyes up to the bigger picture on the agricultural scene, and now we're in an electric car, so that I could start to see all the overlapping patterns.
So that would have been just over 10 years ago, was it?
What was that?
2010, 2011.
2011, I think.
Yeah. And so that was kind of a bit of a moment for you where you kind of saw things differently. You came back to Australia. You gave up eating meat because you saw the conditions of the animals, and then your perspective kind of changed. And I've been through similar stuff. But yeah, we might come back to that. But what have we got out here, Rob?
We've just come from World Heritage Area of old growth rainforest, and now what you're seeing over here is just case in point of the destruction of that area, turning it into this. So now you've got like a monoculture of a single species of tree where they've completely wiped out the existing vegetation.
So we've basically just gone from this incredible diverse forest past the destruction phase where they destroy it all, and now we're seeing the monoculture in the background.
Basically zero biodiversity. If you went and took a walk out there, as to what you've just seen back in the World Heritage Area in the rainforest there, take a walk through one single species, there's basically no life in there whatsoever. For an industry, the main forestry industry down here in Tasmania is sustainable timbers, which even the name sustainable is a joke.
Misleading.
It's not sustainable at all. Employs less than 1% of the population, and has been propped up for the last 10 years with about roughly $10.3 billion of taxpayers' money. So zero economic benefit, and they're turning it, the old growth forests they're continuing to cut down is being turned into pulp and for toilet paper and cardboard, which the value goes far beyond economic when you go into an old growth forest. The cultural significance and value of those regions and areas are, that's invaluable. And you can't.
Now we just went for a walk. We just went for a walk through there, and we did film some, and that's actually going to be part of the next episode following this. And I really encourage people to watch that, because Rob has an incredible deep knowledge of a lot of the ecology. And on the walk, we drove up there and we started filming on the drive, and then we actually walked into the old growth forest, and Rob, I was filming Rob as we're walking along, and he's actually stopping and pointing out different plants and explaining, how they've evolved and little species all around. And there's just so much incredible diversity in there. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And it was incredible to walk through there with you, Rob. And then and now if you wouldn't mind explaining what they actually do to those forests to get them to that monoculture, what actually happens then?
So I'm recently, I guess, just under 3 years of moving down here to Tasmania, digging deeper under the surface of what's happening in local industry, and you start to take an interest in your local surrounds, particularly native vegetation areas like that are untouched. The basic process is they'll talk about controlled burning, which is got nothing. It's not controlled whatsoever. Basically, firebombing an area, completely incinerating any life in these like biodiversity rich areas, incinerating it, then basically dragging a cable through, taking out all the tree vegetation, and then proceeding to poison it with bait to kill any animals in that area.
Why do they kill the animals like that?
To prevent seed dispersal, because they're basically trying to wipe out all life in these areas. Once that has been, once they've taken that over, so it looks like a complete scar across the landscape.
Which is what we drove past before.
We just drove past some of it, but that's actually a very minor, example.
Wow.
When you start driving around Tasmania, and particularly around the World Heritage areas, not far just out from those areas, if you walk through like the overland track and you get up on top of Mount Ossa or some of the peaks there, you can actually look out across the distance, or even Harts Mountain is a great example. You walk up the top and on a clear day, you can look out and for miles you can see these scars all over the landscape. And if you drive up and you actually go down and walk across these areas, you'll see the devastation. So then they aerial seed these areas with a single species of plant which will grow fast and tall, which will allow no other growth in the area. So the soil itself is practically dead. There's hardly any microbes or life under the soil. Then to grow one species of monoculture that provides no benefit to any other species. And that's all grown for sustainable timbers. Again, there's nothing sustainable about it. And even if they just stopped right now, just worked on the areas that they've already logged, there'll be more than enough material there if done like correctly. Not the way they're currently running it.
So they don't need, there's really no justification for going into these old growth forests and continuing to clear at all. They really should be locked up for good now.
Yeah, I mean, at this day and age and the stage we're at and what we face with climate change, like rapidly accelerating, to clear old growth carbon sinks like the old growth forests, just purely on a survival basis of all races.
Self-preservation.
Yeah. I mean, just purely on that, they should be left standing.
Yeah.
And we're not even tapping into the cultural significance of these areas to the original inhabitants of Tasmania or Australia or, any other.
Yeah, you mentioned on our walk that the traditional owners, they knew of like 100 different seasons and all the complexity that's in there.
Some of these symbiotic relationships between species, like the different seasonal changes that are taking place, like between the berries and the flowers and the animals' breeding cycles and their cultural burning practices, it took all that into account. So they never
it's all part of it.
Yeah, it's all part of it. And they managed this area down here, like separate from the mainland by the Bass Strait for at least 14,000 years, developing a unique culture, a unique fauna and flora and environment that's found nowhere else on the planet. So to come in and start stating claims about, employment or economic benefit, which have all been disproven, it's a complete farce.
Yeah.
So sustainable timbers owned and run by the Liberal government.
Yeah.
It's
So it's got to stop. It has got to stop.
It's got to stop, and it's got to stop immediately.
Yeah. We can't lose any more of it. Basically, we've lost so much already.
We can't replace it.
It's irreplaceable because it takes thousands and thousands of years for the soils and everything to generate like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've both got nieces and nephews now. Our brothers, like my brother and sister, and like your brothers, they've all got another generation coming up through now. And I've actually, for the first time in the time, like 2.5 years I've been here now, I've got both of my siblings are going to visit me with their family.
Yeah.
I'm going to take them to Mount Field and show them that incredible area that's been saved there.
Yeah.
And some of these other reserve lands that are under threat. And so they get to run and play in that area because, but by the time they grow up and have their own children of their own, these areas could be gone.
Yeah.
And that is a tragedy.
That's up to us really now.
It is. It's
Yeah.
criminal that this could even be, I guess, that we talked about it earlier, there's no fence left to sit on
No.
because,
Pick a side.
yeah, you've got, now there's just right or wrong, and that's just
Yeah.
wrong on every account.
Yeah, totally. How's the drive feeling, mate? You feeling comfortable and...
Well, I forgot we'd left the car park. It's that quiet.
Yeah. Yeah,
I am pretty excited about the 0 to 100 thing.
yeah, but all that aside, it's still pretty amazing
so
without
good.
that.
It, like, the amount of control, it hugs, like, the weight in it, you can feel it, like it hugs the road so well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can imagine, like, if all cars in the city were like this, so quiet, you'd be able to hear the birds singing in the cities, which would be
Yeah.
quite extraordinary.
It really
Yeah.
is incredible. I've just taken us on a side trip here.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. There's no dramas there. So, I reckon if we get through this bend, we might be able to... There might be a spot down here, hopefully. Across this little... It is magnificent country around here.
So that's the Styx River there, which is...
So there's a river.
Yeah, so that's another... The Styx River Reserve.
Oh, here's a good spot. All right, just slow it down here. There's no one behind you?
No, why me?
You good? Come to a complete stop. Now imagine that you're back in your rodeo days, and the gate's locked, and you're on the bull and about to open the gate. And whenever you're ready, I want you to plant it all the way to the floor and go to 100. Whenever you're ready, mate. Whenever you're ready. Go, hit it. All the way. Hang on.
Holy shit! That is... Holy moly, that is bloody unbelievable.
Now, when we drove up here, I didn't show you what it fully had. So that's your first.
Mate, that is good. I think I've got my large intestine in the back of my throat here.
Just hit it again now. Just hit it again. Huh? Go. All right, now hit the brakes. That's it. Brakes work pretty good too.
Wow.
Give it a bit up there.
Mate, it is dead set. It has got some get up and go, I tell you. Wow. It's so controlled. You feel completely safe.
Yeah. Were you expecting that? I mean, I talked it up a fair bit, and you've seen the episodes.
Mate, it almost blew the eyebrows off that bloke back there. Oh, man.
Can you imagine driving one of these up with your nieces and nephews up to see this beautiful
It
forest?
just took me then, it almost took me back to Expo 88 sitting on the Gravitron. Holy hell. That is awesome.
Wow.
So good.
Righto, that's good. Back off a little bit there. Yeah, it doesn't take long to get up there, and it's it's safe, it's quiet, and there's nothing coming out the back of it. There's no exhaust, there's no pollution. Instant
power and total control.
Yeah.
It's
And this is the safest car in the world as well, by the way. So you're 10 times less likely to get into an accident in this car because of the autonomy and the cameras behind it. I'm just going to pan around because it is
Styx River,
absolutely spectacular. Yeah. Look at that.
Paradise, mate. Absolute paradise.
Yeah. It is magnificent.
Why would you want to pollute the cleanest air left on the planet?
Yeah.
Down here.
Yeah. And we actually pulled up before, and you jumped out and filled up our water bottles just out of a little stream on the side of the road.
That's right.
What have we got?
Yes.
I think it's his. That one there. That comes straight out of the stream.
Straight out. That's Mount Field rainwater right there. So so eat your heart out. Mount Franklin.
Yeah.
And FU Coca-Cola.
Yeah. FU Coca-Cola in Mount Franklin.
Just producing more plastic bottles.
Yeah.
And filling up out of a tap. But yeah, mate, that's impressive. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I've been following the channel, watching, you're getting all the mates back out of Clermont.
Yeah.
And watching their faces, which is priceless.
Yeah.
It's just gold. Like, what I love about this whole project is the fact that it's actually yeah, it's
Going right here.
yeah.
You're good this way.
You go that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that it's because we both grew up out that way, and the toxic politics that we have at the moment are trying to drive a divide in between people and polarise the population. But this project's bringing people back together and showing real solutions to the problems that we face.
Yeah.
Which the technology's here now.
The technology's here, mate. Yeah.
It's and to experience this, I can't rate it highly enough. Like, I'm going to be spreading the word now. We've got a few people lined up already.
Yeah, we've got a few lined up in Tassie, a few interesting people. I'll be down here for a few weeks now. So I'm really looking forward to meeting a lot of the local people down here and talking about clean tech, talking about preserving biodiversity and the incredible ecology that's down here, and also talking about the future that we want to build for Australia. Let's paint the picture. Let's provide the vision for the future. And so I'm really excited about the meetings, the different people over the next few weeks. But yeah, on the series, I just kind of remembered that you mentioned you watched the series, and you would have known a lot of the people in those early episodes, like Guji and Hodjo and all those guys. So it must have been good for you to see them enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we both have experienced going back to visit our hometown or home area, and even with the whole Adani kicking off back there, and that drove like another wedge between real progress and what's currently happening, and just divided a community. Well, and particularly I think from both sides, from the farmers' perspective and then from people living in town that are employed by the mine, it was quite challenging to watch. And I know when you go back out there, some of the conversations they're quite difficult to talk about solutions, talk about progress, when there's no political leadership to show that way forward.
Yeah.
As far as sustainable agriculture or getting off fossil fuel and onto renewables, it's all possible and it's all happening.
Yeah.
Well, there's examples all over the globe, bar Australia.
Yeah, exactly. And like you and I, we grew up and we're mates with a lot of people who work in coal mines. Like, my brother works in a coal mine. I've got so many friends who I consider lifelong friends in my hometown who are coal miners.
Yeah.
People who come off big properties and whatnot. But the problem has been over the last few years is that the lack of leadership in this country, that the people in government have actually tried to divide us. They've tried to pit inner city people against country people for the politics of it. But really, we're all in the same boat, and it's really them who are holding up real progress. It's the government that's holding us up.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably where I got the most enjoyment of watching, like you said, watching some people that I've known from years back get in and enjoy just like the simple thing of enjoying a ride in something that technology that's here now, ready to go.
Yeah.
That pure joy on their face, and I think that it's a glimmer, that glimmer of hope or optimism that you can see. It's a lot of good people, a lot of hard-working people out there in rural and remote areas. I think are affected, primarily. I think they're affected more than most.
Yeah.
But have everything to gain by, having some sort of progressive leadership that shows you the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, nice.
And I think we've had a privileged childhood growing up out in those remote areas. Like, that's for sure. I know myself, growing up on remote cattle stations, just the down-to-earth, salt of the earth, genuine people out there.
Yeah.
Super empathetic, loving, caring, supportive of each other. Those communities are really tight. And I think work ethic, second to none. So much you can gain from you know, the upbringing we've had.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to harness that and provide positive solutions, it'd be a great thing.
Absolutely, and like, yeah, my childhood was incredible. Like, Clermont has like 2,000 people, and it's in the country, so it's perfect as a kid because you can with your mates, your schoolmates, you can go jump on your bike and go out bush and swim in creeks and, you know, and rivers and creeks and go out to the dam, and you're just immersed in nature all the time, and you have this freedom that you don't really get in the city. And yeah, so I had a great childhood, and, you know, you're right, there is an incredible work ethic in those communities, and there's incredible knowledge as well, like technical knowledge and skills.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in Mackay as well, and stayed with a friend there who I studied engineering with, and, you know, we took a lot of his friends and my old friends for drives around Mackay, and people, a lot of them are into cars, right? And they have this unreal, like, technical knowledge of engines and cars.
If they weren't, they are now.
If they weren't, yeah. But this is the thing, right? This is the opportunity, is that those skills are there, and they can be used in the new, like, industrial revolution that's taking place around the world, the clean tech revolution. There's such massive opportunities to you know, build and install renewable energy, batteries, community-owned renewable energy and batteries, you know, electric vehicles as well. All these other things need to be done, and the experience and the skills are in the regions for that. We just need some leadership at the top to start those industries off.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, even today, this is the first, like, experience I've had just out here, and the chats we've had already, you can see where everything overlaps. So protecting old growth forests, directly linked to getting off fossil fuel dependency and opening up to new technology like this, goes hand in hand. Oh, and there goes another logging truck.
Yeah.
So you could make them electric, not that we would need them if we stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it all overlaps. Regenerative agriculture, so it provides more jobs, more of a holistic approach to a better future. It's just, the way we're heading, it just does not make sense.
Yeah, we had Ellen Burbidge from Juice Media a couple episodes ago, and she was talking a lot about the circular economy.
Yeah.
And how, you know, you basically use something and then it gets recycled and used back again. And actually, that's what Tesla are trying to do as well. So Tesla are using the term non-extractive mining. So obviously, you'll need to go for it, mate. Right, I just break a bit. So what Tesla's trying to do, or what they are doing with non-extractive.
It's hard not to get excited.
It is, yeah. Oh, this is a great road for it as well. With non-extractive mining, what they're trying to do, the new battery packs that Tesla are producing will be basically 100% recyclable.
Yeah.
So new battery packs will do 1 million miles, which is 1.6 million kilometers out of one battery pack.
Yeah.
Basically no servicing,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the life they'll be fully recyclable, and you'll be able to use them again. So instead of constantly having to extract materials to build more and more cars, we'll be able to recycle all those materials, and then we don't need to, with renewable energy, you don't need to extract oil, extract coal, extract gas from the earth constantly, because you use lithium to store. Lithium batteries will just be used to store renewable energy.
So that's the next. When are they? They're being produced now.
They've got their production pilot plant running in California. They're saying I think in the next year or two, all the new battery packs will be with this revolutionary new battery. And there's so many other things about these new batteries, like they've brought the cost down by 50%. The battery operates much better than what it will even in this car. And I mean, the battery pack in this car is revolutionary. Right, it's better than anything else out there by a long way. But the new battery packs are going to be something else. Like, they're going to store more energy, way more energy per kilogram. They're going to be cheaper, and they're going to work better, and they're going to be 100% recyclable. So that's where technology is going.
And you're saying, and the new weight, like was it Tesla Y? So the cars that are coming out are going to be getting cheaper.
Yep.
Well, like
Yeah. So
that's a common thing that you hear. They're too expensive.
Yeah, but that's a misconception, right?
Yeah.
Because when people say electric cars are too expensive, they're comparing a car like this with a normal car, and it's just like comparing oranges and apples, really.
Yeah.
Because this car will do 4 or 5 cars worth of mileage, right? So Model 3s in the US, 3-year-old Model 3s in the US, they've only depreciated by 5% in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right, so they're holding their value.
Yeah.
A normal petrol car, you buy it and it depreciates by 20% when you drive it off the lot.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
And you talk about the amount of servicing and all of those.
Well, you're saving thousands of dollars a year in servicing. You can fully charge this car. It's a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. If you charge this off peak for like 10 cents a kilowatt hour, that's $7.50 to fully charge it, and you'll get 460 Ks. So for $7.50, you can drive 460 kilometers. You can't do that in a petrol car. You could, like, that's 5 times less than what it would cost to power a petrol car.
I don't know if you could even fill a scooter up for that.
Yeah, that's right. And a scooter won't do 0 to 103.3 seconds. So,
No, near as much.
yeah, I reckon you'd be mad to buy a new petrol car now. Just even on the current economics of it, because another thing that's going to happen is we're going to get a glut of petrol and diesel cars, secondhand petrol and diesel cars on the market. So the longer you wait, the more you're going to lose on your resale value when you go electric.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with the future. There's a lot to be worried about, and we need to act now. But if we do act, we can build an incredible world with the technology that we've got now. Oh, this is the Derwent.
Here we go. Yeah, River Derwent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we're coming to New Norfolk now, and then we'll head through next town to be Hobart.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now enter the roundabout. Take the first exit.
Now, your partner, Fove, she's also doing quite interesting, she's been doing some interesting stuff over the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still hoping that she'll get in the car and
Have a drive, yeah.
I think after I explain this experience to her, I'm pretty sure we'll get her in, so I might...
Leave that?
I don't want to steal all the aces. But yeah, she is an amazing woman, and I mean, we met over conversations about refugee work that she was volunteering and doing at the detention centre, back in Queensland. So, she's doing some pretty amazing stuff, and I think we met at a party wanting to have real conversation rather than talk about the latest game of the Broncos or stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're both pretty passionate, about people, about the planet. So it was kind of refreshing to just talk about big issues. And I don't think it should be a thing. There's always that saying, "Oh, don't talk politics, don't talk." That's the stuff we should be talking about.
Yeah.
Like it. If you're not going to talk about it now, when?
Yeah.
It's, I think it should be open conversation, and
Absolutely.
shouldn't be something that's hushed at a party or in certain circles.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, absolutely.
Let's talk about the big issues. Let's talk about what affects myself, you, our loved ones, everyone. It's because we're trying. Yeah. What if we're not going to talk about that? What is the point?
It serves certain political interests for us not to talk about it. They don't want us to talk about it, But it serves our interest to talk about it, so we can tackle some of the big problems that we're facing.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of. I talked about this earlier. Is I think that what they've done a really good job at just crushing people's creativity and imagination. And when we walk back through Mount Field and stuff there, when you're in true nature like that, it gets under your skin, and it's impossible not for your mind to wander and start imagining a world where that stuff is completely protected. But even bigger picture than that, like if you look at like the permaculture principles of sustainable living, like that philosophy and that approach where everyone benefits, there's no one left behind. There's not this, trickle economics crap that keeps being fed to us. It's actually, it is real. Like the economics of the rainforest is equal distribution for all. That's
zero waste as well.
Zero waste.
Fully circular.
Symbiotic relationships. I mean, we can have all that too. Like if we go into monetary theory, like we've had some good chats over the years, and I think it's good now because it's like they're trying to push a beach ball under the water in the pool. Like it can't. Eventually it's going to keep coming up, and it's starting to now. Like people are waking up.
Absolutely.
So now's the time to get active. Like we said, there is no fence. Get excited, get active, start talking about, look at stuff happening in your local council, your local government, federal government. Put the pressure on to create the world that you want to live in. And everyone, each and every one of us, like the beauty of living in this country, we have the choice. We get to vote, we get to, we got the freedom of speech. We just have to use it.
We have to use it, and like we vote every 3 or 4 years or whatever. But actually, we can have an impact every day, and we'll probably talk about the Tarkine in a minute, a bit more. But like I got into, I've been passionate about action on climate for 20 years, but I never really knew anything about activism or joining local groups and whatnot, and so I've only discovered that in the last couple of years. So I joined Extinction Rebellion a couple of years ago, and that introduced me into activism, and through that I met all these different amazing people who, a lot of them have been doing it for a long time, and some of them were new as well. But you end up meeting people and discovering this network of people who also want to see positive change. And I think there are a lot of people out there who care about these issues that we're talking about, but they don't know how to or who to reach out to, or how to engage, how to help, how to contribute. And I'd say the best way is to just reach out to your local community group, environmental groups, Extinction Rebellion, Friends of the Earth, all these kind of groups. Just start somewhere, and you'll meet people, and then you'll discover all these other groups and communities that are acting. So once you're in, then you discover this network. It's like mycelium kind of thing with the mushrooms. And I know you know a lot about.
I'm a pretty big fan, but I mean, that's right. Like the common thread is that you care and you want a better planet. Like that's the common thread through it all. So like you said, it doesn't matter where you start. There's community gardens. There'll be something in your neighbourhood that you can get involved in. You don't have to be chaining yourself to machinery or doing. But that, unfortunately, that's become essential now. Because if you don't, it will just go ahead. Like we'll talk about the Tarkine shortly, I'm sure. But if that's not a big enough red flag of what's going on, is it? And these are like in the media. I always find it frustrating that the people doing these things are portrayed as, being these people with no jobs that are out there. I mean, there's nurses, school teachers, people from all walks of life, farmers that are really deeply care, all ages, ranging from in their 80s down to kids that just left school or even still in school.
I had the same thing. Sorry to interrupt, but I had the same thing when I was in Extinction Rebellion. We'd be doing a protest, and the media would come and completely misrepresent us, right? And they would portray us as a certain type, but really in the group there was all kinds of people. There was doctors, scientists, teachers, even carpenters and tradies and stuff come along. One of my best friends in Extinction Rebellion, he drives a concrete truck. He's a truck driver, and he is an exceptional activist, and he knows so much about it all. But that's the only job, that's the only job he can get, because the government won't implement the policy that people need to transition. If we had a job guarantee, so that people can transition out of particular jobs. We're all kind of locked into this system at the moment, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, this is it. I mean, and we've both, my mindset's been changed over the years too, because you start off by blaming a certain group of people, or like they don't have the same beliefs as you, but at the end of the day, it's not people's fault that they need to find a job, they need to make a living, to feed their family, to have an existence. It's if they're provided a better opportunity, to do, to make that same income and live by doing something that's actually positive and protects the planet, I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
That whole, and that's this tragedy of the fossil fuel industry having so much dominance at the moment.
Yeah.
Is they keep spouting about how many jobs they're creating, but how much life are they destroying? It doesn't stack up.
Yeah. Exactly. All the answers are there. It's just again, we just need the political leadership to get us there. So
we've got an overtaking lane coming up here. So
you're excited about that?
Just duck around this forward.
It is nice to zip past other cars in this incredible piece of tech.
Maintaining speed limit, of course.
Of course. You look like you're enjoying this, mate.
I do. I am enjoying it. It's, hopefully this guy gets out of the way.
Go around the outside. Oh, there you go. Total control.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's completely stuck to the super glued to the road.
Yeah. The vehicle dynamics in this are phenomenal. Like there's truly like nothing like it.
So run me through, you said how many ton?
This is 1.8 tons, but most of the weight is in the battery pack, and I'm just going to show you. Zoom in on this for viewers.
So that whole base.
Yeah, so that's called a skateboard. That's called a skateboard configuration. Tesla pioneered this, the skateboard configuration. It's got a front and rear motor, this particular one, and then you can see that big bit in the middle is the battery.
Yeah.
We've got about 205 kilometers left of charge, which is about just less than half.
Yeah.
And so in that battery, that's where all the weight is. And if you look at like race cars or sports cars, the whole idea is to get the weight down very low and to get it into the center of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this does.
Yeah, low center of balance. Yeah.
Low center of gravity in the center. For a petrol car or a diesel car, the engine's in the front, and it's quite high up. So you've got this center of mass in the front of the vehicle, which puts all this pressure on one side of the car when you go around a corner on the wheels. Whereas this one, the pressure's distributed evenly.
Yeah,
so that means that's why you got so much more grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can really feel it.
That's why you look at a Formula One race car, they're so low to the ground because they want it to be equal distribution on all four wheels.
I feel like I'm in a goat kart on steroids.
Yeah, basically.
That's got a rocket strapped onto it.
Yeah, that's basically it. I can show you a bit of autonomous driving if you're up for that as well.
Yeah, we'll get through this. There's a roundabout up here, the bridge.
And then after that.
Yeah, so that's where you would have come in the other day, right? That takes you up to Launceston.
Oh, right, yep. I can't remember, but if that's what you reckon. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so thanks to the convicts, they dug that out and basically filled that with dirt and created that bridge.
Wow.
Poor buggers. It's so enjoyable to drive.
Yeah. 18 months ago, so end of 2019.
Yeah.
So you could first get them in Australia. I think the first delivery was September or October 2019. They'd been out in the States for a couple of years already, this particular model. This is the Model 3 is the first mass-produced model for Tesla. So it's the first kind of affordable model, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've followed Tesla for a long time. I've been interested in electric vehicles for 20 years probably. And when they brought out the Model 3, I just had to have one. And now, you know, it's such a joy to be at the kind of beginning of what is a electric vehicle revolution around the world. And you know, I've been saying this a lot, but the electric vehicle revolution is only going to happen once, and you're either going to be at the starting, the pointy end of it, or the tail end of it. And I can tell you what, it is incredible. It's so wonderful to be at the start and to be able to share this technology with your friends and family.
Yeah, I mean, to get to replicate this so far, I mean, it's going to go. I think it's going to go gangbusters from here. It already has, but I can only imagine, like, you'd just be buzzing off the energy from everyone else that's in this vehicle.
Yeah, that's right. Every day I get to take someone new and show them, show them this and experience it with them, and you know, nobody gets out of the car disappointed.
Well, yeah, I got to say, I don't, at least, and we're on a weekday too, so at least it's not going to ruin my weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hashtag Scotty from marketing.
Yeah. What a load of nonsense, eh?
Oh, I tell you, I'm having a shit time.
Yeah, you look like it.
Yeah.
Turn that frown upside down, mate.
So it's not much having no fun at all.
You could have got that easy then.
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah.
But I doing the right thing. Here we go.
All right. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about as well is you're currently you're studying nursing, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm at the tail end. I've got 2 more clinical nursing placements, and then I should graduate in October.
Oh, yeah. But you've done quite a few things before you decided to study nursing. So you've done a builder's apprenticeship.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the nutshell version.
Yeah.
So, out of school, I did an auto electrician apprenticeship. So, and then and then I went overseas for a little bit, just playing a bit of rugby with a mate over in Ireland. And then, so back 99, 2000, then came back, had a short stint in the military, and then I did a mature age carpentry trade.
Yeah.
And following that, did an enrolled nursing diploma, which I finished, and then we moved down here to Tasmania, and I continued on with my Bachelor of Nursing. And
why did you decide to study nursing? What motivated you for that?
So I wasn't too sure when I first. I did some work. I was over in South Africa for a little bit, and I got to work. I was fortunate enough to work in some no-go zones with some paramedics and young paramedics, but to go into these pretty volatile sort of situations, and just to see their professionalism and to basically turn up and reserve all judgment and help anyone in need. It was very impressive. And I worked with a friend who actually went back to Sweden, and he got straight into nursing and finished, and kept asking me what my plan was. And at the time I thought, well, maybe I'll study paramedicine.
Yeah.
So when I turned 40, I decided if I don't start studying at 40, then I just won't do it. So actually, a bit of a sidestep, I applied and got in to do a Bachelor of Education in primary education and human movement.
Yeah.
And secondary PE, secondary education and human movement. And for some reason I changed my mind. I did a semester, And I basically, as I dug deeper into the Australian curriculum, I realised that it's the same developed in the 1930s or 40s.
Yeah.
Teaches no history whatsoever on Tasmanian Aboriginal or Australian Aboriginal people in the mainland. Almost zero. And it's just, their schooling system is so outdated that it didn't work for me when I was a kid at school, and I hated school for it. So I basically pulled out mid-year and was a bit lost at what to do, and a close friend of mine who's a social worker talked me into going and just trying nursing. So it's hard to have an interview when you're so excited, just by putting your
Yeah. It's so easy to do.
So anyway, I got into the nursing diploma. I still wasn't too sure until I did my very first. With the nursing diploma, it's 18 months. You do 6 months, and at the end of each semester or term, you do a placement, clinical placement. The first one they put you into is aged care. And I think the very first day at aged care, getting to actually have the privilege of being involved in people's life at the end of their life cycle. And like I remember one particular client who was 100 years old, and it was amazing to hear their story of their life. And what that experienced over that time.
Yeah.
Just the way things have changed, and that was just for every single client really, and being able to be in people's lives for that small amount of time, I just knew it straight away then that this is for me. Like, I can actually, I get to be, I like the human element, I like actually just being able to help people, and I think I think nursing for me now is just, I don't know, it took me a long time to find it, but I love it, and I can't wait to get into my grad year next year.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, mate. So we're coming into Hobart now, and that's Mona, isn't it?
Yeah, that David Walsh's house over there.
Oh yeah,
Mona.
He's got a couple of Teslas, doesn't he? He and his wife have a Tesla.
Yeah, we were going to go and charge up over there, but I'm not sure
if they
public.
Yeah, maybe it's just his. But I think they've announced the Tesla charge station in Hobart, but I'm not sure if it's been built yet.
So we over in the background there, you can see the top of Canarney, so we'll be heading up to the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
When we jump out of the car.
We're going to finish with a bit of a view.
Yeah, we'll go and find a view. I think there's a bit too much snow for us to go right to the top, but we'll find out. We'll get up to one of the lookouts.
Nice.
And jump out. Yeah, and have a debrief.
Excellent.
On a little adventure.
Sounds good.
So, Dan, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'll flip the interview.
All right.
So, on your first concept of taking this car out to the homeland, out to Clermont, Adani country, I know it must have been amazing just to see the reaction. I guess you know what it's like in the car, but to see because we talked about earlier, the population is so polarised that to see did you expect the reaction that you got from people that you'd grown up with that are heavily involved in the mining industry, but their first experience in the car, and just talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. So it's a good question. I drove it up there. I didn't plan on this happening really. I did want to drive it up because I live in Melbourne now. For people who don't know, I live in Melbourne, but I grew up in Central Queensland, and my parents and my brother still live up there, and his wife and family. So I was going up for a couple of weeks just for a bit of a holiday, and but I wanted to drive up in the Tesla to see how it performed, and also to show people when I got there. And I didn't have the idea of video. Jump in this lane, mate. That way you can burn this guy off when we go. But so I didn't want to. I didn't have the idea of videoing it. But I did go with the intent of wanting to show people, because that's why I bought it really. 18 months ago I bought it, to show as many people as possible, to put as many people in the driver's seat as I can.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I originally bought it. Yeah, and you can see some of my early posts. I was saying, you know, I just want to put as many people in this car as I can. When COVID hit, you know, we were in lockdown for 5 months, and I actually sent the car over to a friend in WA, and she used it as an Uber for 5 months. So I put about 400 people through it.
Yeah.
Just in that space time, instead of it sitting in the garage in Melbourne. So this car has had a lot of people in it. A lot of people have experienced their first time in an EV in this car.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, took it up to Clermont, and then my brother Tim, he works at a coal mine. He took it over to Saraji coal mine in Dysart. You'd know where that is.
Yeah.
And he was doing, you know, working on for a week and then back for a few weeks. So he took it over for a week. And when he took it, I said, oh, if you take some of your friends for a drive, just go for it. Yeah, nice. If you show some of your friends, just video their reaction when they floor it, kind of thing. And the clever thing that Tim did was that he pioneered it, really.
I don't know if they've got through the light yet.
No, they're still at the intersection.
That was.
They're just small little things in the rear vision mirror now. So the clever thing that my brother Tim did was that he, so they finished night shift, and he had a group of his workmates, and instead of putting them in the passenger seat and showing them the speed, etc., he put them straight in the driver's seat for their first experience, right? And then because it's Dysart, it's a small town, they could just putt out of town slowly, and then say, you know, Mark, the first guy with the goatee, So
and
the mullet, yeah. He's the superstar of the series, obviously. So
he's gold.
They just putted out of town with him, and then, you know, went onto this quiet country road, and then Mark's literally just, you know, getting used to the car, and Tim says, just pull up here, and then just plant it, and you know, the car accelerates faster than a Lamborghini, but Mark had no idea. Mark was oblivious to how fast it was going to go, and that's where you get that really incredible reaction. And Tim, in that original video, Tim says to him, "Are you converted now?" And Mark looks at him and laughs and said, "Yeah, that was quick." Well, he goes, "Yeah, that was quick, wasn't it?" So within like 3 seconds, you get someone who's a petrol head has a new appreciation for electric vehicles, and so I wasn't expecting that at all. And so then kind of developed it from there and thought, you know, we're onto something here. And so, you know, just keep taking more and more people. Obviously the series is called Coal Miners Driving Teslas, but we don't discriminate against non-coal miners. So we'll take anyone. And then really it's, you know, people, I've been on a number of interviews on radio and for newspapers and whatnot, and I often get the question, what's your favourite episode? And I say, well, my favourite ones are the ones that Tim shot with some of the people in my hometown, like Gucci. You know Gucci? We've known Gucci for...
he's bigger of it.
Yeah, he used to have the fastest V8 in town, and, you know, he was like respected because he had the most high performance car in town. And like, I've got along with Gucci my whole life, basically. Great guy, and then to see him enjoying the car was really special, you know. So yeah, it's been incredible. It was unplanned. It's all happened organically, and now I just want to keep it going and just take more and more people and see where it leads. Really, yeah.
Mate, it's impressive, and I've sort of followed the journey just through chats we've had. But I mean, we've always, I guess, we energise each other a bit. But what you're doing now is even because if you're informed, it's quite it can be quite what would be the word, discouraging, the direction, you know, that our so-called leadership is taking with this country. But when you're doing a project like this, for me, it's really boosted my
morale,
or just positivity again. Like I feel like there's solutions ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how, like, so I think this is not just a solo thing. Like, you're dragging a lot of people along, and I think opening a lot of people's eyes up to the possibilities, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I mean that there are certain interest groups, say the fossil fuel and the oil industry, the gas industry, and the coal industry. And when I talk about those industries, I'm not talking about the workers. I'm talking about the people at the top of those, the billionaires who own those industries, right? Who are using the workers as a political pawn. But there are people at the top of those industries that renewables, batteries, and electric vehicles are a threat to the billions in profits that they make. And again, not talking about the workers, right? So this technology is a threat to them. And the Liberal Party and the National Party, they represent the billionaires who own those industries, right? They don't represent the workers. They pretend to represent the workers, but in fact, they represent the billionaires at the very top. And this technology is a threat to their profits. So they have been actively suppressing this technology for decades. Electric vehicles have been suppressed, around the world, really, and especially in Australia, for decades, right? So we could all be driving these cars now, but they've been suppressed to protect the profits of the billionaires at the top of the oil industry. That's the sad thing about it,
And again, I mean, it's that old case in point when you talk about, so for our whole lifetime, we're breathing in toxic fume, which could be avoided or eliminated completely.
Yeah.
So for them to come out and claim that it's for the benefit, of their voters, of society, complete
lies,
joke.
Lies, absolute lies. And we have, as I've been saying, like, there's not a human alive today who lives in a city who hasn't been breathing in to diesel and petrol exhaust fumes every single day of their lives. Right? Diesel particulate every single day of their lives. But our cities have been beholden to petrol and diesel vehicles for 100 years. No one alive has lived in a city with pure clean air, right? They would have before fossil fuel revolution, right? But there's no one alive today who's lived in a city with pure clean air. So we've all got it inside us, and if it goes into your lungs, if you can smell it, it's going into your lungs. And if it's going into your lungs, it's going into your bloodstream. If it's going into your bloodstream, it's going into your brain, and it's going into every organ in your body, right? Now, the opportunity is, if we do convert over to electric vehicles, we're going to have pure clean air in our cities, and our quality of life is going to improve dramatically. So every Australian's quality of life is going to improve dramatically with the uptake of electric vehicles.
And this is, I mean, we're just looking at the minor components of it, let alone the extraction of those fossil fuels. Like the recent pipeline bust in Mexico. It was the ocean
Mexican
on
Gulf,
fire.
Shocking footage.
Yeah, the Mexican Gulf, that stuff. Or you just go out to where we're from, like the holes and the scars in the land out there, which will never recover.
Yeah.
Just complete, just destroying.
Yeah. And again, we're not blaming the workers for that, because we know a lot of those workers, and we care about them and their families, and we care about the community. But they've been lied to. They have been lied to by the billionaires and the politicians that are in their pockets, and the News Corp, the Murdoch press.
Yeah. Well, this is the bit that it really. That's where I think it really pulls at the heartstrings, because like our families, our loved ones, everyone is affected by this. It's not, and they try to divide people and turn them against each other, when really, I mean, if they got back to the job of actually leading this country towards a positive future, you wouldn't have this. Like, we wouldn't have to pick up the newspaper and read the bullshit from Murdoch that gets put on out of the front page.
Exactly. You wouldn't have to listen to Scott Morrison telling everyone that somehow electric vehicles are going to ruin your weekend, or all this nonsense, all this garbage just to protect the oil industry, or the billionaires at the top of the oil industry.
I mean, and it's almost like transparent corruption. Like, we just follow the money trail, and it's really obvious.
And it's on both sides of politics. It's donations, right? The Labor Party and the Liberal Party, and the Labor Party takes donations from Santos, Woodside Petroleum, and Chevron. Like, three of the largest oil companies in Australia The Labor Party, which claim to be, promoting electric vehicles or claim to be wanting to act on climate change, they still take donations from
Second exit.
the largest oil companies in the country. Now, those oil companies aren't going to donate to the Labor Party if they're not expecting something in return.
Exactly.
And the something in return, if you're an oil company, is the suppression of the electric vehicle
100
revolution.
meters,
Yeah,
turn
right.
right onto Davy Street.
Exactly. I mean, and that's like, and there's only, I mean, this is the other thing that I find interesting is, I know there's a generational hate for the Green Party, but if it's the only party that's trying to force to take these donations out of politics, if we can't take those donations out, we're not going to see any change.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's obvious if there's only one party that's pushing for it, what are the rest doing? And you just, again, so you read the constant crap about them taking donation, but they don't, whereas all the other parties do.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, they're completely corrupted. You can't
They,
believe a thing that's been said.
yeah, they are, and it's a lot of democracies, a lot of governments around the world have tackled this, and they've gotten rid of corporate donations out of their politics. We need to do the same.
Yeah.
We need our elected officials, because that's what they are.
Right onto Davy
They're our
Street.
elected officials in our parliament. They need to represent us, not these major oil companies. So once we can get those donations out of our politics, our democracy is going to function much better than what it does now.
Yeah,
I'm going to be able to tackle some of these
Yeah,
problems.
we'll truly represent the interests of the people.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now where are we coming up to now, mate? What have we got
heading
here?
through the waterfront in Hobart,
Yep.
and we're going to,
Is this? Are we near? Is it Salamanca?
yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah.
We're just going past TMAG, the Museum and Art Gallery,
Oh yeah.
just over there.
Well, this is where you leave to go over to Mona, isn't it?
Yeah, so the ferry leaves from down one of those wharfs down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salamanca Square is up a little bit further without the Salamanca Market,
Yep.
biggest open market in Australia. Well, it took a bit of a hit with COVID, but now it's back up and running. But luckily, they don't have any floating feedlots pulling up there, the P&O boat cruises.
Floating feedlots.
Yeah. So they've shut that down for a while, which is great.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, they inject very little into the local
Yeah.
economy when they pull up. But yeah, we'll just head straight out this way now
Yep.
and into South Hobart, and then we'll head up the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
But a beautiful city.
Yeah. It'll be a lot better when there's no stinkers on the road, won't it?
Well, it's hard to realise how much, because I guess you just become a little bit oblivious to the noise pollution of a vehicle when it's constant.
Yeah.
So it sort of fades off in the background, but when you actually get into a vehicle that makes no noise,
Yeah.
even the quality of conversation that we can have,
Yeah.
disregarding the material.
Yeah.
But even just driving out there today, it's so quiet, and then you really, after you've been in it for a little while, you start to realise.
Yeah, and you become a lot more cognizant of the noise that internal combustion engine cars do make, and you start, it's great using this car, but it does draw your attention to all the exhaust fumes coming out of the cars around you. You start to notice it, whereas you didn't notice it before.
Yeah, it definitely magnifies your awareness.
Yeah, that's it.
And to be back on that open road where you panned out across those open fields,
Yeah.
when there's no other vehicles around, that experience to me was like when we walked through the Pandemic Grove, which we'll be seeing on another episode. But,
Yeah.
But that stillness,
Mm.
yeah, so you can actually hear yourself think.
Yeah. So I've had people who are into big into cars and quite loud cars. And I've had them in the car and they actually comment how nice it is, how nice the silence is. So I think this idea that loud cars are cool, I think that's changing. The culture is changing on that, or it will change.
It'd be good to see them. I'm sure they've got maybe a silent electric leaf blower. I know.
We've talked about leaf
Yeah.
blowers before, haven't we?
I think they've got one out called a rake.
A rake.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
unbelievable.
OG of leaf blowers.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were going to make a T-shirt up with one of those, red crosses with a leaf blower.
That's right.
No
I mean,
leaf
sometimes
blowers.
you just over-engineer something that is already...
Yeah.
I think this is probably a case, this bit of machinery is probably one of the only useful bits of technology that's still advancing.
Yeah.
And getting more, like it's gaining like the
value.
Benefit. It's gaining value for the benefit you reap from this technology.
But leaf blower, we probably could have stopped at the rake, maybe.
We could, I think so.
People probably, quite a few million people probably have a better night's sleep.
Manual with a set of gloves, and then maybe advance to a rake.
Yeah.
To get those hard to reach leaves. But to go beyond that and put a motor on it.
Yeah. Because really, like, you do a cost benefit analysis on a leaf blower, and you're shifting a few leaves around, and you're depriving, millions of people across the country of an extra hour of sleep in the morning.
Exactly, unnecessary. And I'm not sure. I think, and I think maybe it seems like most of them only operate between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. I don't know.
Yeah.
On a Sunday morning, generally.
Yeah, and like the economists are all about improving productivity, right? They want to improve productivity in the country. Sorry, you want to mention?
Just stand up and just have a look up there. Look at the snow. Can you see the snow?
Not quite, I don't think. But
when we get a bit closer, it's just want to sort of showcase Kanani Mountain on our way up, because this is and you'll see it on the way out. We're going to see some signposts. So I want to bring notice to this cable car that's in development. So this has been in the pipeline for a while. It's heating up right now because in about a week the Hobart City Council is going to make a decision which could permanently scar this amazing, culturally significant, mountain. Like it's like in Hobart. That's what you see. It's amazing the way it is. Their proposal is that they put carve a scar right up over the front of the organ pipes, and put a cable car in the size of I think it's the size of 1 or 2 passenger buses, which will go up there bar heavy winds, and will cost between $80 and $100 to get on, which it serves absolutely no purpose.
Bloody
maybe
hell.
For a one-off trip for tourists, but then that's it. So it's been heavily criticised by all people. I think they got over 17,000 letters.
And you said normally at something like this you get
I think
1,000 was
the previous was under 2,000.
previous record for most letters against a
proposal. So
this one's got 17,000.
Yeah, this is a heated debate.
Yeah.
So if this goes ahead, I mean, the Hobart City Council needs to hang its head in shame.
Yeah.
To destroy this, once you put that in, you can't go back. You've absolutely.
Yeah. Once it's just a permanent scar on it. So I mean, who's behind this? Like, why? If there's such resistance, there's such community objection to a project like this. What's driving it? It must be some sort of financial interest, or there's a company behind it.
This is the bit that boggles the mind, because we've got now a Liberal government just got back in down here. So you would think that the state government, the Premier of Tasmania, would have the last say and just completely stop this in its tracks. But he's handballed it to the Hobart City Council. And so I think they have 12 or so members. And you can guarantee there'll be some of those that I'm not sure that are being persuaded one way or the other. But just look at it again, and we're about to go up there. Imagine a lift. Like, this isn't Switzerland. This isn't a massively high elevation mountain. And the arguments that they're putting forward make no sense. And also legally, there's so many holes in the legal ramifications of what they put forward. It makes no sense that it can even go ahead.
Yeah.
They flew an archaeologist in, representative, a non-Indigenous or non-Aboriginal guy in.
Yeah.
Flew him in from South Australia to walk on the mountain for I think about half a day, and he made the decision that there is no Tasmanian Aboriginal significance to this sacred site. Now, if that's not enough to stop it, I don't know what is, but it goes beyond that. So they're going to carve, so this is all protected area, the Wellington Park. Yeah. They're going to carve an area through this vegetation all the way up to the face of the organ pipes. And then they want to build all this infrastructure on top So, I mean, just leave it alone. Sometimes progress doesn't mean more infrastructure.
Yeah.
It means protecting this incredible site as it is.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what people know. That's what people
And
want.
if people want to oppose this, if people in Hobart want to oppose this, what should they do? Where should they go?
Well, all the petitions have gone in now.
Yep.
But you can, through Keep Tassie Wild, amazing non-for-profit. They're doing up posters which you can order through if you follow them on Instagram or on their Facebook page.
Keep Tassie Wild.
Yeah, KTW, Keep Tassie Wild.
Yep.
We've ordered one. You can put it on your mailbox, and you'll see signs all the way up here.
Pull up here. Might pull up at you, yeah. Sorry. Sorry, just to cut in. How far up do we have to go? Because we're gonna get pretty tight on time. I've actually got to at 5:30. I've actually got another thing I've got to do online. That's all. But
Okay. What time is it now?
It's 10 to 5. So we can either. Where's the lookout you want us to go to? Is it just up here?
We can go. Well, we can.
Otherwise, we can finish up around here, and we can, up to you.
Okay.
Because we're just running a bit short on time now. That's all. But
no worries. We'll just pull up here.
Yeah.
I'll take you through to the Fern Tree Tavern.
All right.
And we can turn around there. We can pull up there. So that's about another 7 minutes.
Okay. Perfect. So Keep Tassie Wild.
Yeah. So you can get yourself a sign, be heard there, but also just talk. Like, send a letter in, contact your local representative if you're in Hobart. Even if you're not, send a letter in the Hobart Council, City Council.
Yep.
And just jump online and have a look. All the materials there on Instagram, Keep Tassie Wild, and they've also got links to another non-for-profit that's providing all the information on this proposal. And it's been knocked back for 3 years. It's the fact that they brought it up again just means that they're just sneaking it along.
Yeah.
Like they've done with the Adani coal mine.
Someone's set to make a lot of money off it.
Yeah. It's
at the expense of everyone else.
We won't get up there, but I mean, anyone that's come to Hobart would be well aware of this, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, if we had time, we'd go up the top, but I think with the snow dump, they've shut the road down. So we're just going to go to Fern Tree Tavern, which is an amazing little pub just out here.
Yep.
Another locally owned establishment.
Nice.
So that's Jackson's Bend.
And even here, we're right in the thick of it, aren't we? We're right amongst it.
Yeah. Now we're back. Like, this is all environmental living if there are blocks here. But as you go up, natural, fauna, flora. This is a whole corridor, Sandy Bay Rivulet, that runs all the way into the town water supply.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you mess with it? The mountain is covered in mountain bike tracks, walking tracks. So many families and people enjoy this mountain just the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's no reason. There's no benefit to the local community or even the larger community to doing this thing.
Yeah.
So, we just need to start recognising the value in what we have and start to protect it.
Absolutely.
Like, what else is the local representation politically? What else are they for but to stop this sort of stuff happening?
Absolutely.
So, we're really interested to see how this is going to pan out.
Yeah. And you're still enjoying this drive, mate?
Even better now, when you get on these little windy roads. It's just because, like you talked about before, it evenly distributes that load through all the tyres. And the hugging degree, it doesn't feel unsafe at all. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that turn there takes you up to the top of the mountain.
Oh, yep.
And up through Fern Tree, the last suburb, and then you're in the park.
Yeah, right.
And so we might just pull up here, I think.
Yeah.
Pull up over here.
Now, it's gotten a bit darker since P on the end. There's the P, the button on the end of the paddle.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's park. It's gotten a bit darker since we started, mate, but I've just turned the light on so I can see you. But
yeah, short days at the moment.
Yeah, Appo, mate, great to see you again after many years. You've been a bloody awesome mate to me for a very long time. I really value your friendship. And, mate, thanks for driving this electric vehicle today.
Mate, pleasure. The pleasure's all mine, Dan. And yeah, I appreciate the friendship. And mate, as always, I'm inspired, and I'm super positive about what's to come.
Yeah.
So yeah, good luck on this. And I can't wait to run this back down the hill.
Yeah, let's do it now. All right, thanks,
Bye, mate.
mate. Cheers.
See you then.